Welcome to 700 Club Interactive. I'm Andrew Knox. Right now, you're about to see a spectacular answer to prayer. Tracy Stadler was trapped in a burning inferno after she and her husband were hit by a drunk driver.
Her car could have become her coffin had not a stranger appeared to rescue her, a person Tracy described as not of this world.
There was so much wreckage pushed in on us that we just couldn't move. Tracy was literally trapped by the engine, and everything else had collapsed in on her.
I looked at my husband, and he reached over to try to unbuckle my seatbelt, and then whoosh, he started on fire. I tried getting to him, but I couldn't move. I was trapped.
On the night of their 4th anniversary, Dan and Tracy Stadler were fighting for their lives inside their crushed and burning car. They had been hit head-on by a drunk driver who was going the wrong way down the interstate. The driver of the other vehicle was dead. Dan and Tracy were trapped and badly injured.
The whole entire car was filled with smoke. I could smell the burning leather. I could smell the burning flesh. And I knew, you know, I was going to start on fire very soon because I couldn't breathe. I could feel my lungs burning.
Motorists arrived on the scene and quickly began rescue efforts to get them out of their burning car.
They stopped their car and ran up to our car, which was now engulfed in smoke and flames. They began praying as soon as they came upon the wreckage, and they moved into action almost as quickly. They were doing everything they could spiritually to help rescue us. However God's will was going to play out, they were there involved in it.
I remember leaning up and looking at all these people lined up, and they were hysterical. And I remember even locking eyes with a woman.
The car doors were jammed shut. One man pulled on the driver's side door frame until the glass finally broke out.
The window then shattered into 1,000 pieces and just kind of fell away. I was literally on fire at that point. My face, my head, my right side, my right arm, my right leg they were all burning. And so I pulled myself out, and they came over and grabbed me and took me over on the median in the grass and rolled me out and put the fire out that way. In the meantime, Tracy was trapped in the car. She could feel her face burning. And at that point, she was convinced she was going to die.
I realized this is it. You know, I'm leaving. And so I prayed. I said prayers I never even knew were in my mind. I said, Father, I pray that you forgive me for my sins. You said you have many mansions in heaven, and I pray there's one for me. And I said, please don't let me burn to death. And then I looked up, and there he was. When I say he, it was a person who I knew wasn't of this world. It was a heaven-sent person in an angelic form. And at that point, he just lifted me up, and I went with him. He pulled me out, and we started getting further away from the accident site. At that point, I know I left my body. I know I did. He told me I could look back if I wanted to, but I didn't want to. And the further we got away from the accident site, the more peace I felt, such peace. And the love can't be explained. We're too finite in our words. It can't be explained in human terms. The love like you were going home. There was no pain, no regret, only anticipation. The only thing that mattered is my relationship with Christ. And I felt like I was in the arms of God, of Jesus Christ himself.
Tracy says as they ascended into heaven, she saw her grandmother who died when Tracy was a little girl.
And I was so thrilled to see her, and she was so thrilled to see me. She knew me, and I knew her right away. And I started to go towards her, and I stopped, and I said, Megan. And that's our oldest daughter, who was 9 months old at the time. And I said, I have to go back. I mean, I knew I was going to see the face of God. I knew it. And, but I couldn't let Megan grow up alone. And we started going down. And this was just the opposite of going up. It was hard, it was cold, it was fast, and it was painful coming back.
She says her spirit returned to her broken and burned body. At the same time, rescuers saw a man walk out of the woods and up to the car.
And they saw him come closer and closer to the car, and he appeared to have a glow about him. And at the same time, there was another man who was behind all of this going on. He was praying fervently for our rescue and our recovery. And he said, just as the angel came upon the scene, he was buckled to his knees because he felt the healing power of Jesus Christ so intensely that it just overpowered and overwhelmed him. One of the rescuers, that's when he was able to free Tracy, and that's when he said she was just as light as a feather. She just essentially popped right out in his hands. As the angel was there, he bent over her, and he put his hands over her face.
He took his hands, and I knew he was healing me. And he said, Tracy, everything's going to be all right. He healed me.
He turned and looked and locked eyes with one man in particular. And very slowly and deliberately, he said, take care of Tracy. Nobody knew our names at that point. Tracy's purse was in the car, burned up. She was pulled unconscious from the car. I had not been speaking her name. Tracy had not spoken her name. So for him to know her name, it could only have been heaven sent.
The man turned and walked back into the woods. Soon after, emergency workers arrived on the scene and transported Dan and Tracy to nearby hospitals. The next several months were filled with pain and difficulties as they recovered from multiple fractures and Dan's severely burned body. But Tracy says the presence and peace of God was with her when she prayed.
That sustained me. I could feel peace from head to my toe when I would pray to be filled with the Holy Spirit. It worked better than any pharmaceutical out there, and it really did. And the peace, again, I would be prayed to be filled with peace.
In their book, Angels in the Fire, Dan and Tracy recount how God has used the crash to show his presence in their lives. They say they are thankful they've been given a second chance in life, even in difficult times.
I just recognize the fact that God is with me every day, through everything, the littlest decisions. You know, he's there.
God was there for us. Jesus Christ was there for us. He gave us he gave Tracy in particular a healing. He's used what happened to us for many other things. We do have a lot of joy in our lives. Not always happiness, not always thrilled at some of the challenges we faced, but the joy of Christ is always with us.
I don't know why I was saved, but he, for some reason, thought I was worth saving. I'm very thankful for that. I really am.